This is the Orvis CFO 3, and it's the latest in a long line of Orvis CFOs. And today, I'm here to unbox and review it. If you're a fan of Orvis products, there's very little chance you haven't heard of the Orvis CFO. They've been making a version of the CFO for a very long time. And in fact, while this CFO is an homage to Stan Bogdan's reel, that reel was in itself an homage to the patented ventilated reel that was actually built and designed by Charles Frederick Orvis. That's right, the CFO does not stand for Chief Financial Officer. It is in fact the original Orvis reel of sorts. And since this is such a simple reel, I figured we'd unbox it so you can see everything that you're gonna get with your new Orvis CFO. So let's get started. So in the box, we've got our reel and a pretty nice, fairly standard Orvis pouch. I will say, for a reel that is a classic, this pouch is not a classic. They're definitely not giving you a shearling pouch here, but from a functionality standpoint, it's all there. We're also getting a manual, and this manual is going to tell us about all the parts in case you need to order one or reassemble it, as well as the backing capacities here. That's kind of useful. Also tells you how to change the retrieve, but if you order it from Trident, we can do that for you. All in all, this reel looks and feels very classic. That's sort of what you'd expect from a CFO. Now that we've got it out of the box, let's jump right into our 5 factors to see if this CFO is actually any good. And we're going to start with the drag, which, this being a click pawl reel, does not exist. But if you watched our bat and kill review from a little bit earlier, this reel is going to be a little bit different. It's definitely got a more traditional click pawl mechanism in here, and it is both adjustable and reversible. What does an adjustable click pawl mean? Well, when you adjust it from one end, to the other end, you're going to get a slightly different sound and a very slight amount of increased tension. This is by no means a drag, but it is an adjustment to that click and pawl mechanism. If you were to think about it in terms of a drag, the difference would be in tenths of a pound. So really not something that is going to stop a fish by any means, but what it's designed to do is stop that reel from overrunning and creating a bird's nest for you. And that's what it can do if you need to tighten it all the way, if that fish is really, really running hard. But now let's move on to the spool. This is a traditional reel, and it does in fact have a traditional arbor, and that means it's going to pick up line fairly slowly. We've got a max diameter here of 2.6 inches, a nice, really narrow width of 0.6 inches, and an arbor size of a mere 0.48 inches. That's going to give us a retrieval rate of 4.15 inches per turn, or roughly 290 turns for that 100-foot fly line. That is really, really slow. If you're fishing the full 100 feet, you're going to be reeling a long time to change spots. And if you get a big fish in, you're going to be doing a lot of reeling to bring him in. But let's face it, performance is not what this reel is really about. So there you have it. In terms of capacity, this spool also doesn't hold a lot. One of the things that I think is a little strange is that this is the CFO 3 size, which is the 3 to 5 weight size. Unfortunately, while Orvis says in the manual it's going to hold about 75 yards, we measured it at really more like 50 yards of backing with your weight forward 5 weight. So if you're fishing a 5 weight, which is the most popular size of fly reel these days, you're sort of left in between sizes. You've got this CFO 3, which is really a 4 weight, or you can go up to the CFO 4, which is really a 6 weight. So it's just something that you're going to have to balance if you want a 5 weight CFO. If you're fishing a 4 weight, no big deal. And let's face it, because you're going to be trout fishing with this, you're probably not going to see your backing anyway. It's just going to take even longer to reel up. This review is brought to you by Trident Travel, which is our new destination travel service where you'll get our expert advice, planning, and guidance at no additional cost. That means no credit card fees, no booking fees, and for a limited time, you'll even earn Trident rewards on your travel bookings. So with every trip you book, you'll be earning valuable points that you can use towards free tackle here at Trident. Recently, we've had some clients go on some absolutely fantastic trips like permit fishing in Belize, Atlantic salmon fishing in New Brunswick, and trout fishing in Alaska. So if you're thinking about taking a fly fishing trip, Trident Travel is the way to do it. We've got a ton of great destinations, excellent service, and even more destinations being added every month. Check us out at tridentflyfishing.com/travel. Next up is weight, and this CFO is very light, as we've come to expect from Orvis Click Paul reels, and it comes in at a mere 3.62 ounces. That is very light for pretty much any 5-weight reel, and it is extremely light for a classic reel. And I think that's where the story of the CFO starts to get a little difficult for me. While I do love a really lightweight reel, I take a look at this and the weight and sort of the way it's built, and I wonder, is this really a classic reel, or is it a modern take on a classic style? And I'll let you know more in the conclusion, but I think you know which way I'm going with that. Up next is sound, and while I've given you a little preview already, this reel sounds fantastic. I'd say this is really the American sounding reel. If you have the Hardy Perfect from England, that is also a fantastic sounding reel. This reel sounds more American, if you will, and different, but also really fantastic. So let's just take a listen. You just can't beat that Click Paul sound. And while there are many reasons to go for a bat and kill over a CFO, I think the sound is probably the one area that this really, really crushes the new bat and kill in. That sound is just really, really sweet. Last but not least is ergonomics, and the ergonomics on this reel are fine. There's really no drag knob, though the adjustment knob for the Click Paul is small. That's not something that you're really going to be adjusting on the fly. It works. It looks just like the old CFO, which is probably what they were going for, and it does the job. The handle is a little short for my liking, but it's totally fine. And definitely shorter handles are a more classic feature, so if you are building a classic reel, it should probably be a little bit shorter. The spool release does work really well, and you can use this reel with multiple spools. All in all, from an ergonomic standpoint, it's solid. Because it's a Click Paul reel and because you're fishing for smaller fish with it, it's really not a lot to worry about here, but it's a solid design. And before we wrap up, let's talk pricing. This CFO 3 comes in at $329, which is really pretty high for a Click Paul reel. This is essentially the same reel that's been made for 150 years. That is a lot to pay. But if you're considering a classic reel like the Hardy Perfect, this reel is a lot cheaper. So you're getting, albeit a different experience from the Perfect, but a classic reel that sounds really, really good at a price that is lower than the Perfect. Also, this is a made in the USA reel, which is great and what we like to see. And in terms of made in the USA reels, this one's actually maybe on the lower side of things. You can get all the same performance that you get in the CFO in a bat and kill for way, way less money, but you can't get that sound. If you like reel reviews, we've got lots of great ones coming up. Hit the like and subscribe button as it really helps us out. If you have questions about this Orvis CFO or any reel in the Orvis lineup, give us a call at 888-413-5211 or email us 24/7 at support@tridentflyfishing.com. I'm Ben. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.